New American Liberty League. Listen, I know I don't have the face for videos or the voice for podcasts. So to all three of you that are going to watch this, I'm sorry. I am D. Hearn, Daniel Leonardo Hernandez. This is my son, Emil Alexander Hernandez, in whom I am well pleased. In the notebook today, we always talk about good and evil. It's bigger than politics at this time. We're going to start running down some things that why we say the left is evil. We're going to start today with them being the party of systemic racism and identity politics. We're obviously got to get into what happened at the Olympics. Obviously got to get into Democrats dumping Biden and how that changes so many things. We're going to some kind of recap on the Trump assassination, the RNC convention, so much stuff to talk about. Also, I got an inside story. I got an inside story. Cannot give up my sources, but it really illustrates the dangers of an open border and terrorism. We got that coming up later in the show. In the capitalist pig part, we're going to talk about why Harris and Democrats are so dangerous when it comes to our markets and our economy. In the life section, somebody we know has a birthday. We might talk about that, some other cool things. And in the outro of the show, we are going to show you how the shadow ban we talk about, not only for this show, but all conservatives, how it works and how we have proof of the shadow ban. Big topic today, good and evil. It's not about politics. It's bigger than that. And the left is evil. There's no other way to put it. We are no longer two wings of the same bird. That argument is done. The Democrat Party, throughout their history, do your own research, throughout their history, has used, lied to, and now panders to minorities, especially Black Americans. Whether we're talking about slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, they have always been the party of systemic racism. Now they use Black Americans differently. They use them for their vote. Do a little research on Lyndon B. Johnson and his strategy on how to get Black Americans to vote Democrat for 200 years. Kamala Harris was picked not because of anything great she's ever accomplished, but because she is a minority woman. She was a DEI vice president pick. She was not Biden's first choice. And something we called a long time ago was eventually they're going to go to Harris. What I didn't realize is that it may be for the survival of the party. Whether they believe she can win in 2024, I don't know. I believe she can. But I don't know if the Democrats themselves believe that. But what they do know is they had to, at all cost, pander to Black voters because they were polling well for Trump. And it became something bigger than even the 2024 race. They had to pander. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. This party, they cannot win on issues. They cannot win on their history. They cannot win on their track record. It's horrible. They have to make you emotional. They have to divide us. And they have to play identity politics. Not only with Harris. Look at what happened in the Olympics at the opening ceremony. They had to throw Christians. They hate Christians. They hate Christians, and they're going after the gay vote. Matter of fact, they're going after the gay vote so hard, they decided to make gay children that'll grow up to be gay adults that will vote Democrat forever. It's a strategy. It is identity politics, and what you saw at the Olympics was pandering, and it was disgusting. Look at the Hamas protest right here in our nation's capital, not in the Middle East. Not in the Middle East where they're chanting death to America and Hamas is coming. In Washington, D.C. And this, again, is identity politics. The left sees the numbers. They see the Muslim population growing in America, and the Jewish population in America and around the world has been stagnant. So for voter reasons, for political reasons, for reasons of power and staying in power, they have now picked the Hamas vote over the Jewish vote. And it's identity politics. And it's all they have. And it's what they use. And like so many other things the left does, it's evil. It's bigger than politics. Emil, in order to make identity politics work, you have to select your victim, which we've talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. You have to have them in constant victimhood. But the other thing you have to do is throw someone else under the bus. Who have Democrats decided to throw under the bus?
Yeah, I think there's two major groups that they've decided to throw under the bus. And the first one is godly people, Christians and Jews. And if you look at all of their policies, they're all anti-Christian and they're all anti-Jew. They support abortion. They support Hamas. Everything they do is ungodly. So, of course, they throw out the godly people. And the second major group is masculine men of all colors. They want masculine men out of households, and they want to fill that place of the household. They want to be the care, the provider. They want to take that role. And who they hate most of all is straight, white, Christian men and black conservatives.
Yeah, for sure. Black conservatives, and like we said, you said you've even seen that on the high school level. I've seen it in politics, and I've seen it now with my, as a grown-up, I still see it with some of my friends. If you listen, they've hated black Republicans since Frederick Douglass. And if you think outside of their box, and we've spoke on this before, I spoke on it for years, if you think outside of their box, you're going to be hated. If you are a black Republican, you are going to be hated. And I would love to hear from any black man, any one of my friends, any black American who's a Republican. If you've never experienced hate from a Democrat, I would love to hear that. Please prove me wrong. But that is a group that I have seen I've seen Democrats hate for years and years. And like I said, now it takes on more of a meaning, because now they are truly, I believe, fighting for their political lives. So black Republicans are a threat, a true threat to the Democratic Party.
They call them Uncle Toms. They do everything in their power to fit them into one box. You're of this race, you have to be like this. To me, that sounds pretty racist.
That's evil. Sponsor this half hour, now that he's 18, Emil's Moving Services and Truck Rentals. Kid's only 18, but we've done moves to Pensacola, Jacksonville, Tampa, all over Florida. He has a box truck. So if you're looking for a good conservative to support locally and you need something moved, Emil's Moving Services and Truck Rentals. He's 18 now, so call the guy. News. Emil, news. I think it actually would be easier to cover what's not happening in the news, because everything is happening at once. Listen, 2 weeks ago, there was an attempted assassination on President Trump, and it's already out of the headlines. It's like it never happened. But within 2 hours of that assassination attempt, the New American Liberty League was on it, and we have been dead right, and we are proven more and more right every day, every piece of news that comes out. There is no doubt in my mind that was a cover-up. And, we could get in details, or you could watch the last 3 shows when we broke the news, episode 10, and then the episode where we interviewed Rick Kuiper, former CIA agent. We were ahead of right-wing media. We were ahead of
everyone.
You listening yet? The news, Emil. RNC convention, JD Vance. You like that pick? Good pick.
What an average pick. In my opinion, even bordering on bad. I think he may have lost voters by picking JD Vance. I think if he wanted a strong pick, he would have picked somebody like Ron DeSantis or Rand Paul, somebody who would have dragged in the libertarian vote. Or if he wanted to do another average pick but still drag in votes, he could have gone with someone like Tim Scott and at least got some of the black vote.
Yep.
JD Vance just does nothing for his campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I know he speaks well. He's younger.
He's trash.
I'm not going to call him trash.
Average.
He's average. He's very average. And like I said, I would have been disappointed with anyone besides DeSantis or Rand Paul. So it is what it is. I don't think that moves the ticker. I don't think that gains or loses any vote at all. What else we got? Another thing we called since 2020 is the fact that at some point the Democrat Party had to dump Biden. I said it was going to happen in the midterms. That didn't happen. As soon as that didn't happen, I said there was no way they were going to let him run in 2024, and it was going to be Harris versus Trump. And now we have it, Harris versus Trump. Unbelievable. In my lifetime, I know it's happened before, but in my lifetime, something I've never seen, and it really does change the complexity of the race, and I still think legitimately, if everything was legit, Trump would win. But now, Emil, what do we have the threat of now?
So I think Kamala Harris does something very important for the Democrat Party, which is she puts it within rigging distance. Joe Biden was going to lose so bad. If they rigged it, it would have been too obvious. Kamala puts it within that gap where they can rig it by only a certain percentage and still cover it up. And
yeah, I agree. It's and like I said, I don't. They obviously can't rig and win every election. I know they don't care about hiding things as much as they used to, but that would be still a little too obvious. But it gives them that option now. It's not going to be the blowout that Trump-Biden was going to be. So at this point, even though, like I said, I think legit numbers, I still think Trump wins. But at this point, you never know. And it's sad. It's sad to me that the issues do not matter. If you run a minority female as a Democrat, that brings in a ton of votes. Policy per policy, her and Biden are the same exact person. Biden had dementia. She's a complete bubblehead. There is no difference between the two other than what's visual and what's between their legs. And like I said, that's sad. The Olympics, disgraceful. God will not be mocked. When I saw it, the first thing I thought was it was a push because the Olympics said no men competing in female sports, and I thought this was a push back against that. I would love to hear some of the names involved in the planning of that, and you can't just blame it on the whole Olympics. You can't blame it on all of France. I want to hear some specific names, and I think there's a big tie-in to that, even with identity politics in the American race. I think the left moves in unison, and believe it or not, the 24 race was on their mind also. Emil, your first thoughts when you saw it, what was the first thing that popped into your head?
I thought it was blasphemous. I thought it had nothing to do with the Olympics, and I thought it was pandering. Even though it's in France, like you said, the left are globalist.
Yep.
They think worldwide, not just nationwide.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely disgraceful, and if we don't become moral people soon, we're going to have to face our consequences for our actions.
We will. Before I move on to this next story that I talked about earlier, any thoughts on Harris's VP pick?
So, I think there's two choices. One, I think, makes more sense than the other, and that would be Governor Gavin Newsom. Because, in my opinion, he's charismatic, he's a good speaker, and they can make him the face. They can make him the talking head for the administration, because Kamala can't really speak. She's pretty dumb.
She has an amazing laugh, though, like a hyena. That's amazing.
I think they could put Gavin Newsom and make him the charisma guy and possibly draw on some votes off that. Whereas I think the second option is more likely who they're going to choose, because I think Gavin Newsom doesn't want the spot, is Pete Buttigieg, so they can go after the gay vote.
First of all, say his name right when you say it.
Peter Buttigieg.
That's better. That's better. I agree. It's more identity politics. It's more pandering. And why not? I mean, you took over Disney. You took over Nickelodeon. You took over schools. They've made such a push for this gay movement already. Why not pick Peter Buttigieg? I mean, me personally, I think that backfires politically because
I think they lose more men.
I think they lose more men, and I think especially they lose Black Americans and Black American men in bigger numbers with a move like that. Even though the pandering will be so obvious, I don't think that every gay person votes Democrat already. You think there's not? What is there? Maybe 3% of gay people in America that may vote Trump. You already have that vote, but you risk losing Black Americans and Black American men in big numbers with a pick like that. But I think that's where they're going to go because, like he said, I don't think Newsom wants it because I think in his mind, Harris is not enough of a winner, not enough of a shoe-in, and he don't want to be tied to a losing ticket when his turn may be in 28. So we agree on that. This story right here, Emil, is interesting, and I almost didn't want to get into it when I heard it, but I trust my sources so much. I usually wouldn't do this, but this is someone I trust. I mean, with my life, with my kids' life. Like this is someone I believe in and I trust. I can't get into his name and I can't get into where he got it from. Just know that I trust him. Not Chicago, but a county south of Chicago 2 weeks ago, there was reports and information coming out about a very suspicious moving truck. Emil, you weren't in south of Chicago.
No,
that wasn't you. Thank God. Okay. Reports of some very suspicious activity in a moving truck. I can't even say the name of the county to tell you the departments that went and investigated it. But what they found in the back of the moving truck was nothing but couches and trunks. No other furniture, couches and trunks. 3 men, all Syrian men, and in all the trunks and couches was ammunition and explosives. The 3 men got their phones confiscated, being held, questioned, everything else. Nothing on the phones, almost nothing on the phones. But they did find a written notebook. They were doing everything handwritten. They didn't want to do anything digitally. And they found names of all.
Hopefully not my name.
Not Emil's moving services. That wasn't there. Lebanese and other Syrian men is all that was in this notebook. So the end of the information I got is that those 3 men were detained off the streets and they were going after the names in this notebook. The 3 men confirmed came in through the southern border. the southern border in Texas, and this was just south of Chicago. So if you're one of those people like me that knows an open southern border is a threat in so many reasons, but especially when it comes to terrorism and ties to terror, especially with the Hamas aspect we got now, especially with what's going on in Israel, don't let them call you racist. Don't let them call you paranoid. It's real. It's real. Go with your intuition, and I don't know if this is something that'll break on TV. If this is something they're keeping quiet, I don't know if it's something I should have even brought up. But any new information I get about it, I will pass on.
But we have to realize, as a country, letting this many people through the southern border is going to lead to some sort of attack at some point. We already see small incidences of it across the country, but something major is likely to come. And something I want to add to this is, I think the reason, which we all know, why the Democrat Party is allowing so many people through the border is possibly because they're afraid that they're slowly losing the black vote. And to make up for it, they want to add in the illegal immigrants vote. Absolutely. And try to take over Texas. Absolutely. If they get Texas, they won every election from here on out.
The Republican Party is done. And in return, the Republican Party losing Texas would be the equivalent of the Democrat Party losing black American men. If black American men in big numbers start voting Republican, the Democrat Party has a huge problem moving forward. And if illegals are allowed to eventually vote and Republicans lose Texas, I almost don't see a path forward for the whole party.
It's just a race of the two.
It's a race of the two, and it's man, those are two big issues that could really swing the future of this country. So black American men, come home to the Republican Party. Come home. Sponsor this half hour. Shall not be infringed travel agency. Do you like your weather hot as hell? Do you like fire and brimstone, plagues, diseases? Try France. Try France very soon. Shall not be mocked travel agency. Sponsor this half hour. Capitalist pig part section, Emil. Now that it doesn't matter if it was Biden or Harris, same exact thing. I want to talk about their tax policy. The only new thing I've heard about Harris that Biden wasn't proposing is something that I think, if you stop and think about it, the pure numbers would grow government in so many ways and become such a massive tax. Harris has proposed a tax on every single digital transaction. That means anytime you get a Zelle, a Cash App, anytime you swipe a debit card, I'd imagine every online purchase, every digital transaction now is going to come with a fee or a tax to the government. They want to raise capital gains tax, which the Trump tax cuts coming to an end make that a huge increase. I don't know exactly what it goes up to, but I do know the corporate tax rate that they're pushing for is 35% when it is currently 21%.
Which that should already be more than enough, 21%.
Right. So okay, so thinking of that, Emil, exactly what you just said. What do you wish? Do you think Republicans' tax policy is good enough? And if not, what do you wish and think it should be?
I don't think it's good enough. I think they tend to do very mediocre when it comes to tax policy. I don't think that they push the left back hard enough. They basically run on the premise of, we're better than Democrats. Well, that's easy. But 21% is still too high. We need to be pushing for something a bit more extreme, we should push for zero. And
Income tax.
zero income tax, of course. We should go back to how it was before the 16th Amendment, which was government getting most of their funding through sales tax. In my opinion, I think that would be the absolute best thing. If you want to do like what Trump is talking about, which is increasing tariffs, I still don't think that's incredible, but I do think it's a lot better than income tax.
Absolutely. And so abolish the 16th. Listen, taxation is death. No tax without representation. We went to war over it. We formed a country over this. And now we're okay with 21%.
And the taxes back then was so much smaller than they are
Nothing.
now.
The right answer to this, like he said, if they're pushing for 35%, in some cases almost 50% on certain capital gains tax, the right answer for this is to push back as hard as you can, abolish income tax, abolish any tax on success, and abolish the 16th Amendment. Abolish that. That should be what we're going after. There's one thing that has to coincide with that, which to me is a good thing. As a party, the Republican Party would have to step up and not just talk about cutting spending and then spending $7 trillion in 4 years. They would actually have to cut, at some point, government spending.
Yeah.
If you want to abolish income tax, if you want to have a good tax policy,
the government has to be fiscally responsible.
That's
the only option.
The two have to go hand in hand.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Kamala Harris online transaction one real quick and what that would mean, because I think there's a back end on that. Obviously, we understand the issues with the money.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to be losing money off of this new tax. There's a major privacy issue that I think we should bring up, which is for them to tax every transaction, they have to be able to see every transaction that you make online.
Yep.
We already have the NSA, which is overstepping its bounds. This will put a whole nother layer over the NSA, and nothing you do online will go untraceable. Your Bitcoin will be traced, more than likely. Your crypto wallet, every transaction you make will be traced.
You made me think of two things just now. One, the 80,000 something IRS agents that they hired and armed. Okay? If you're going to get into people's personal business and you're going to start taxing every single transaction, you may need 80,000 extra IRS agents. And two, Trump at the crypto convention this weekend, just because he doesn't want crypto being strict and he don't want the same restrictions on crypto. And how do you go about protecting crypto while you have another side pushing for every single digital transaction to be taxed? That's just an interesting battle, and I think politically that'll be interesting to see
how they clash,
and how that pans out. The other thing that we've noticed about since it's been announced that Harris is going to run, is the Harris effect on the stock market. Soon as she ran, soon as they knew the polls were going to tighten up, the stock market went red for almost the whole week. Now that polls seem to be leveling off a little bit, and maybe that honeymoon phase was just a week long or whatever. Today was actually the first day that it was a little bit green again, but just something interesting to keep an eye on. The market is very future thinking, and the market is also very political.
Crypto did good after Trump spoke at that convention.
Yep.
I think if Trump is going to win, or at least if polls predicted, you can expect crypto to slowly rise as Trump's odds gets better, or the opposite. If polls start showing that Kamala is going to be a heavy favorite, because of that regulation, you can start seeing crypto probably dip.
Absolutely. Emil, on the life segment, man, you got some cool things going on. You're about to be an adult. Birthday is right around the corner. You got your PR on the bench. What was that?
195. Yeah.
savage animal. But there's one thing, you're going to hate me for this one. There's one thing the fans and the ladies want to know. Girlfriend?
Oh, man. No, not yet. I have to meet somebody who holds the same values as me and is up to my standard. And I just don't really want to be a part of hookup culture and just hook up with any old someone who's below my standards.
Unbelievable. I wish I had. That's one of the things I'm proudest about my son. And this is not new. He's been saying this for years now. And, man, that's just, that makes me proud. And that's a mindset I wish I had when I was his age. You don't find too many 17, 18-year-olds thinking like that. And we need more. We need more 17 and 18-year-olds thinking like that. So good on you, Emil. Proud of you. Listen, support the page. YouTube, Facebook, True Social, X. We're all over it. Emil, really quickly explain. Emil has a chess page. Also, chess champion. Emil has a chess page on YouTube. And he is our digital guy for the New American Liberty League. Emil, explain to them how we constantly get reminders and proof of the shadow ban on this page.
So I made a chess video at the same time that we posted
Episode 10.
Episode 10 to see how the numbers would match. And within the first few days, my chess video got 7,000 impressions, meaning that 7,000 people had the option to click on it. Whereas YouTube only gave 138 people the option to click on our page.
Look, I don't blame them. I don't blame the left. I can't blame Facebook. I can't blame YouTube for the shadow ban. We tell you the future on this page, and we have been for years. So I honestly, guys, keep up the good work. You want to ban us? Trust me. Keep up the good work. Listen, support the page. Support the page. Support other conservatives. Support conservative businesses, and just always like-minded people. And we are the New American Liberty League.
Saving the Republic, one listener at a time.